Hello, today we're going to be continuing our building of an adventure, focusing on the top copy run. But the principles here should be applicable to you guys when you build your own adventures. In this case, the story we're looking at is a mix of The Most Dangerous Game, Robert Sheckley's Prize of Peril, as well as actual Ottoman history. Today's going to focus on characters, so let's get to the characters. First characters we need to know about are the players themselves. Why are they here? Well, we're going to railroad in this case. This is fine for a one-shot, but usually isn't great for longer campaigns. So, if this is one of an occasional railroad, that's great. That's fine. They won't mind so much. But if you keep doing this, it's not going to play well. So, in this case, you have to ask yourself, is there a way to make this a more open-ended way to get into this sort of environment? Well, for me, I kind of forced my players into it. They were fine with that because they had been warned ahead of time and they were ready. So that wasn't as much of a problem. If you warn your characters and their players that this sort of thing is going to happen and they agree to it, and you put it in a context which makes sense in the story that you've developed so far, you could be okay. And luckily I was. As a railroady adventure, though, you need to be certain that no one minds that the railroad continues without them. Okay? By this I mean that the railroad adventure has to happen in its very specific stages. There aren't side quests which are easily available in a railroad adventure. So, if you let them go on side quests, remember you have to pause everything, or alternatively, let everything continue. Don't really mix or match. Just let everything continue as it should have without them there, or, let everything be on hold until they bother to come back, which, let's face it, maybe never. But that's okay. So, why are the characters here? They've been railroaded. It's an easy solution. In this case, they've been drugged and dropped into a cage. That is the most basic form of railroading there is. The adventure itself is also pretty linear. So, they were dropped into a cage, they're trapped, and their primary motive, and the best motive of all, stay alive. Second, we need to give them something that beyond just the stick. We need to give them the carrot. Well, since this is supposed to be a one-shot and characters may be coming from other campaigns into this one-shot and then back out again, I'm going to give them a reward which isn't going to affect their other campaigns. So no magic weapons, no rings of protection. Potions are fine. One-shot items are fine in general. If you have contact with their other DM, please talk to them, but likely you won't if you're doing a one-shot. So what I chose were potions of longevity. They add a year of life to the player's character, and the character gets a benefit, and it's something the character would want, and the player might want too, but it doesn't really affect any campaign that's currently ongoing. Similarly, there's a grand prize, which is a variant of the Portrait of Dorian Gray. In this case, it's called the Portrait of the Young Man, and it basically confers clinical immortality, just you don't age while you have it. So, again, in the course of most campaigns, that won't make a difference. There are a small number of campaigns where characters aging is important, it is significant. For those, the DM can feel free to substitute something when they come back, and they probably will. But for most, it's not going to make a difference. And that's important because you want to make sure that your adventure is friendly to other DMs, or if this is one in the middle of one of your campaigns, that you are friendly to yourself. And you don't overpower or underpower the characters for experiencing this. Now, I'm going to add a little twist here, and that there are exactly the same number of potions as there are players, so that the fewer players that survive, the more potions are available to the survivors. If your characters and players are in sync, this won't make much of a difference. But if you have some players who are a little less considerate of their friends and the other players in the campaign, this will make a difference, and they may try to kill each other. Which, hey, that's fun too. Although I have a strict no player versus player policy in my campaign, you may not. So, let's go on to their actual other opposition. We've motivated our characters, i.e. death or extended life, both of which are good motivations. So, the other characters that are going to be dealing with, well, there's a variety of them. This is a most dangerous game. After all, so what's the most dangerous game scenario without thugs or other hunters? In this case, we'll have them be thugs. These are people who know that they're disposable. They get a prize for every player they kill, and if they survive to the end, they get those players' potions as well, so they have a positive motivation to do what they're doing. They also have a motivation to kill each other, which may result in a prize as well, depending on how you want to play that. And in my case, I'm not doing that, but it is a way to make infighting increase. If your players are having a hard time dealing with the thugs, then have the thugs kill each other over prize money. There's no reason that can't happen, and it will give you an in-story version and reason of why the players are being hit by a little less difficulty, because the bad guys are killing each other off, as bad guys tend to do eventually. So, you can make your bad guys however you want. I made them simple thugs, 3rd level barbarians or thereabouts. You can do what you want with them, whatever's appropriate for your campaign. But let's go beyond the thugs. Well, when I playtested this at Dragon Con, I ran into an interesting thing, which is I had drones, which were just very simple. I'm spying on you, or I'm a remote killer. And that really resonated with the players. It really ramped up their paranoia. So we'll go back to the drones in a little bit. But we'll skip over those to the next major character, which is the gardener. Now, in the original story of the viziers who were being hunted to their death in the Topkapi Palace, the gardeners would be the one who engaged in the execution. So in this case, I need to have a gardener who is loyal, like those gardeners were, and just doing their job, and honorable. So I'm going to make up a guy who doesn't have moral quandaries about killing as long as they're killing the right person. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the players are the wrong people. Why is this important? Because this allows for the players to engage in a social conflict that is convincing the gardener that he's on the wrong side. And this social conflict can change the game. It can make the players in a more advantageous spot than they would have been otherwise. So this gives your social players something to do in addition to being support. So, because this is a very straightforward run, you always want to give your social players something to do in combat-based campaigns and adventures, and you always want to give your martial players something to do in social campaigns and adventures. So we're going to cover that by them being able to convince the thugs that they're better off killing other thugs, or by convincing the gardener that they're the wrong targets, the wrong sort. So, in my case, I made a character named Adil, who is a ancient, 800-odd years old, Eliadrin, who was raised in the assassin cult, and his parents knew Hassan Isabah, aka the Old Man on the Mountain, aka the founder of the Hashishin, which is where we get our word for assassin. So as someone who was raised in the assassin cult, in other words, a group of people that killed based on necessity, and morality wasn't as much of a problem, if you could argue that these deaths were the ones that would save lives, or that these people deserved to be killed, then that gives our gardener a lack of moral quandary that they would normally have. So he just needs someone to manipulate him, much the way Hassan Sabah did to his parents. And he's primed for that. The cult would have coded that into him. So let's say 100 years ago, in my case I use World War I, he met our big bad, which is Pyotr Zarov. Zarov comes from the name of the original Most Dangerous Game, its antagonist, Count Zarov, who was also the titular character in its first edition, which was the Hounds of Zarov. So I'm just stealing wholeheartedly from a public domain text, and since this is public domain, it's not a problem now, is it? Feel free to steal from all the public domain stuff you want. So we have Zarov. Now what sort of person is Zarov? In the original short story, Zarov was a very serious man who was bored. Well, we'll keep the bored. That's useful. But we already have a serious character in the gardener. So let's make him not so serious. Let's bring in our prize of peril elements and make this a game show. So as a game show, this makes him the host. And as the host of the game show, he should be gregarious, open, bouncing around, and definitely not somber. Okay? So Zarov has convinced this man, the serious man, the gardener, that these people should be killed, the players, even though they shouldn't. And he's told him and convinced him that the players are evil and deserve this. So therein lies some of our conflict that we can exploit and the players can exploit. Now, who are Zarov's clients? The clients are the bored, the indulgent, the depraved. Basically, I'm thinking of the sort of people who thought Aleister Crowley was really neat. The sort of people who have joined Anton LaVey with his Church of Satan. You know, bastards. They are there as his clients, as the audience. Let them applaud, let them laugh, let them cheer, let them groan. Give a sort of live response to the player's actions as the audience, the patrons, observe this. And then here comes back where we were talking about the drones earlier. Let's give the audience control over the drones. They pay for the privilege. This is one of the ways Zarov makes money. They bet against each other. The drones are loaded with weapons. The weapons are designed to whittle away at the hit points or incapacitate the players. Not designed to kill, because that would be sporting. That's for the thugs and for the gardener. Instead, the drones are there to drop smoke grenades, to cause fires, to make all sorts of problems that the players have to solve, and they're constantly being observed. And if the players destroy one of the, and this was done quite well by players in both of the playtests that I've run, if the players attack the drones drop a grenade. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in real time to say what they're going to do before the grenade goes off. And that gives a little bit of excitement and immediacy to the whole thing, which helps because it's a game show, except as players, they're also the victims. So we have all of this established, and we've established motivations, and we've established characters, we've established opponents, we've established why they're there, and this will help us. Now, there were some changes I had to make besides the drone when I started playtesting, and I'll discuss those in the next video. Until then, thank you for watching. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, etc. I really want to hear your comments if you have anything to say, so go ahead and deliver them, and I will respond as quickly as possible. This has been Ill-Informed Opinions. I'm Joseph Cadotte. See you later.